Right now, somewhere in a kitchen cabinet or a bedside drawer, there is a small flower that has quietly calmed more nervous systems throughout human history than any pill ever created in a laboratory. And yet, when most people feel anxious today, they reach for a prescription bottle instead of a teacup. By the time this video ends, you are going to understand exactly why that happened, and why the flower version of calm might be sitting closer to you than you think. Let's start with a simple question. What do you picture when you think of anxiety medication? For most people, it's a small oval pill, maybe blue or white, sitting inside an orange prescription bottle. But here's something that might surprise you. Long before that pill existed, people all over the ancient world were reaching for something far simpler to calm their nerves. A small white and yellow flower that grows practically like a weed in open fields and along garden borders. Chamomile. But the full story is more interesting. Welcome to Bio Living, where we help you make your life healthier and better naturally, and share the knowledge that the media and big pharma often leave out of the conversation. If this is your first time here, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss our daily uploads. And if you see any products mentioned in this video, the affiliate links will be listed down in the description below. The Egyptians associated chamomile with their sun god and used it to treat fevers and settle the nerves. The Greeks used it so often for calming purposes that its name is believed to come from the Greek words for ground apple, because of the sweet fruity scent the crushed flowers release. Roman soldiers reportedly carried dried chamomile with them on long marches, using it to relax after exhausting days. This wasn't some obscure regional remedy. Chamomile shows up again and again across ancient Egyptian, Greek, Roman, and later European medical writings, all describing the exact same thing. A gentle, reliable way to calm the mind and settle the body. So here's the question worth sitting with. If people were successfully using this flower to manage stress and nervous tension for literally thousands of years, why does almost nobody associate it with real medicine today? Why did an entire tradition of calming herbal remedies get quietly replaced by a completely different category of drug? To answer that, we need to fast forward to the 20th century and to a chemical breakthrough that changed how the entire world approached anxiety. In the 1950s, chemists working in pharmaceutical laboratories began developing a new class of synthetic compounds known as benzodiazepines. These lab-created molecules worked by binding directly and forcefully to specific receptors in the brain, essentially forcing the nervous system into a calmer state. By the 1960s, drugs from this new category were being mass-produced and prescribed at an enormous scale. Eventually, one particular benzodiazepine became so widely prescribed that its brand name became almost a household word, the same way a certain pain reliever we discussed in an earlier video became a household name too. And once again, we see the exact same pattern repeat itself. A synthetic, lab-engineered compound can be patented, it can be trademarked, it can be manufactured at scale and sold for profit, refilled every single month for years. A flower growing wild in a field cannot be patented. Nobody can own chamomile. Nobody can charge you a monthly subscription fee for a plant that grows freely in your own backyard. So as the synthetic option became more profitable and more heavily marketed, herbal traditions like chamomile slowly faded into the background of serious medical conversation, treated more like a bedtime story ingredient than an actual therapeutic option. But here's where the real story gets interesting, because chamomile was never actually inactive. Researchers eventually identified the specific compound responsible for chamomile's calming effects. It's called apigenin, and it's a type of flavonoid found in high concentrations in the dried chamomile flower. Some research suggests that apigenin may interact with the same general class of brain receptors that benzodiazepine medications target, though obviously in a much gentler and less forceful way. This is part of why chamomile tea has been used for centuries to help people wind down in the evening or ease everyday nervous tension, without producing the same heavy sedation or dependency risk associated with pharmaceutical-grade anxiety medications. Now, this is exactly where the whole plant synergy concept becomes important again, something we talk about often on this channel. When you drink a cup of properly steeped chamomile tea, you are not just getting isolated apigenin by itself. You are getting an entire supporting cast of plant compounds working alongside it. Things like bisabolol and various other flavonoids, which some researchers believe may work together with apigenin in a more balanced way inside the body. This is very different from a benzodiazepine tablet, which delivers a single, extremely concentrated, isolated synthetic molecule directly and forcefully into your bloodstream. This difference in approach may help explain something a lot of people don't realize. Prescription anxiety medications in the benzodiazepine family can carry a real risk of physical dependency with regular use, along with withdrawal symptoms if someone tries to stop taking them suddenly. This is actually a well-documented concern discussed openly in modern pharmacology literature, and it's part of why doctors today are generally much more cautious about long-term benzodiazepine prescriptions than they were several decades ago. Traditional chamomile preparations, on the other hand, have historically been used gently and consistently over long periods, generation after generation, without those same widely reported dependency concerns. If you're starting to notice a pattern across these videos, you are absolutely not imagining it. Time after time in the history of medicine, a natural remedy that worked reliably for centuries gets quietly pushed aside the moment a synthetic, patentable alternative becomes available and profitable. And speaking of noticing these patterns, if you are someone who is genuinely interested in natural medicine, and you've ever looked at your monthly prescription costs and wondered exactly what you're actually paying hundreds of dollars for, we put together a complete research book covering exactly this kind of topic. It's called The Natural Pharmacy, and it walks through how you may be able to support your body naturally over a 100-day period using documented traditional remedies, including several plants very similar to the one we're discussing in this video. You can find the link to check it out on our website, listed down in the description box below. Now let's get back to chamomile, because there's more worth knowing here. Interestingly, chamomile hasn't actually disappeared from serious scientific research, even though it's largely disappeared from mainstream medical conversation. Several modern clinical studies have specifically examined chamomile extract for supporting mild anxiety symptoms and general everyday stress, and a number of these studies have shown genuinely promising results. Some clinical trials have compared standardized chamomile extract capsules against placebo in people dealing with generalized anxiety, and reported measurable improvements in reported anxiety symptoms over several weeks of consistent use. That said, researchers are typically careful to point out that more large-scale, long-term studies are still needed before chamomile could ever be positioned as a replacement for prescribed anxiety medication in people with diagnosed anxiety disorders. Germany, interestingly, never really abandoned chamomile the way many other countries did. German health authorities have long recognized chamomile as an approved herbal medicine, and it remains widely used there in standardized extract form, sold in pharmacies right alongside conventional treatment options. It's a small detail, but it tells you something important. This isn't some fringe folk remedy nobody takes seriously. It's simply a remedy that fell out of fashion in certain parts of the world, Once a more profitable synthetic alternative took over the market. So why don't more people know this? Once a highly profitable synthetic drug exists, there's very little financial incentive for a company to fund large-scale research or marketing campaigns around a flower that anyone can grow for free in a garden bed. This is the exact same pattern we've highlighted before on this channel, and you will keep seeing it repeat itself across plant after plant, compound after compound, if you keep paying attention. So if you're into natural health, you will love this part. Chamomile is remarkably easy to grow, even for complete beginners. It thrives in full sun, tolerates poor soil surprisingly well, and often reseeds itself year after year once established, meaning a single planting can keep coming back on its own. The flowers are typically harvested once they are fully open, then dried in a cool, shaded area for several days before being stored in an airtight container. Traditionally, dried chamomile flowers are steeped in hot water for around 10 minutes to make tea, though some traditional preparations also involve making a stronger concentrated infusion for topical use on skin irritation. That said, chamomile does belong to the same plant family as ragweed, so people with known allergies to ragweed or related plants should be especially cautious. And as always, anyone currently taking medication or managing an anxiety disorder should speak with their doctor before making any changes to their routine. What makes this story so fascinating to me isn't just the science behind it, it's the timing. Chamomile was quietly sidelined in serious medical conversation right around the exact same decades that the pharmaceutical industry discovered how profitable synthetic anxiety medication could become. And once again, an entire tradition of gentle, accessible, low-cost natural remedies slowly got written out of the mainstream conversation. Not because it stopped working, not because it was proven ineffective, simply because it wasn't profitable enough to compete with something patentable. And chamomile is far from the only example. If you've been following this channel for a while, you already know we've uncovered this exact same pattern hiding behind aspirin, and we're going to keep uncovering it behind other now famous pharmaceutical products in future videos. Because once you start noticing this pattern, it becomes impossible to unsee. If this video changed the way you think about that cup of tea sitting in your kitchen cabinet, that's exactly the point of everything we do on this channel. We're not telling you to stop taking anything your doctor has prescribed you. We're simply here to shine a light on where these remedies actually came from, and to remind you that nature has quietly been running its own pharmacy long before any of these modern companies ever existed. Before you go, one more time, this is not medical advice. This is simply deep research compiled from historical and scientific sources. So if you are dealing with anxiety, depression, or any other health condition, please consult your doctor before making any changes to your treatment. Thank you for watching all the way to the end. Make sure you're subscribed so you catch our next video, and we'll see you in the next one.